to bat. Behind the scenes, let's dive in. With our pals, you can't miss a thing. Frying fun from night to noon. Tune in and you'll be hooked soon.
What's the Batter, troops? Welcome back to episode 6 of What's the Batter podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us in the studio. We've got Warren Paul, the main man from Paramount Creative, who heads up almost every award there is in Scotland. Warren, welcome to What's the Batter podcast. How are we?
Brilliant. Saturday morning. Out of my bed early this morning, but wouldn't miss it. You know, delighted to be invited on.
No, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on. So, Warren, we've got the Fish and Chip Awards coming up, which is the main award in the Scottish calendar for us, right? Come to November, you're looking forward to the Fish and Chip Awards. I've been thinking about it. We've obviously taken part in the previous ones, which were the Italian Awards. What made you decide to go into the Fish and Chips? Why just focus on that?
Yeah, doing the Italian Awards for about 13 years. We've had a category in the Italian Awards for fish and chips since the very beginning. And the reason behind that was that in the late 50s, 60s, the Italians came over from Piscinisco, Barga, Napoli and whatever, and they settled in Scotland, in the west of Scotland predominantly. And they set up in fish and chips and gelaterias and ice cream shops and stuff.
Yep.
So it's a massive, massive community there. So over the years, we've had all these different fish and chip shops who are Italian origin entering the competition. But we used to have hundreds of people entering who weren't Italian. And there was no Italian authenticity of any kind. And some of them kind of got through into the Italian Awards when they probably shouldn't have. So we decided that we had to tighten that event up by making it really Italian origin. But can we create a platform for someone else? So we had a look. And we looked at what the UK had to offer, and we didn't feel that Scotland was fairly recognised within the UK structure. And after doing a bit of research, that was found, to be true in our opinion. So we decided to launch the Scottish Fish and Chip Awards, which we'd planned to launch in 2019 before COVID.
Yeah.
We'd it all ready to go, and then obviously our type of business was put to sleep. Became illegal to have large gatherings. Became illegal to go and visit people and stuff. So we had to park it, and then it was really about when we could bring it back, and when was the right time to launch it.
See, I think it's, for me, I think it's the right thing to do, because it's the Scottish, the Scottish chippy. There's a difference between a Scottish chippy and an English chippy, an Irish chippy, and I don't want to sound bad, but I just think there's that traditional side to it that they have, but in everywhere, but they've got that taste. It's like, I don't know what it is. I can put my finger on it, but I was over in Northern Ireland a few weeks ago, and I went to a chippy. Fantastic, it was really good. But it wasn't a Scottish chippy. The chips weren't the same, the fish wasn't the same, even though they used the same products. But what is it about the Scottish chippy that you thought, we need to push this?
Well, again, us as a company, we are a PR and marketing machine. Our job is to try and drive awareness of different industries. We felt that there was an underrepresentation of Scottish fish and chips. I grew up in fish and chips. My mum used to collect insurance round the doors, and we used to sit in the back of the Volkswagen Beetle. And our reward at the end of the night was that we would go to Benny's Chippy in Cambuslang, and we could get whatever we wanted. And that was from, I think I was 9 at the time. So we grew up in fish and chips. Every Friday we had fish and chips. That wasn't because we were Catholic. It was just because my mum went out and worked on a Friday night. But so it's part of us. It's part of me. I'm a Glasgow guy. And I've seen the fish and chip industry being decimated by, overpopulation of kebab shops, Indians, Chinese, Greek. There's loads of different choices now.
Yeah.
And the fish and chip guys are having to evolve, like you guys, kebabs, pizzas, because it needs to be hybrid.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a family environment, you're all sitting in the house and you go, what do you want to eat? Well, I want a chippy. Well, I want a pizza. And you've got to be able to accommodate all the different tastes. And the chip shops that are doing well and will survive are these people who have innovated and who have moved on. That's
like, we've always been like that. Like, since when we took over Pepe's 14 years ago, the first thing we done was look at the menu that was there and try and adapt slightly to what we could take it forward. Callum wasn't there at that point. My idea was get these munchie boxes in, get these things in that people will feed the family with, but also look a wee bit further forward. Callum came on a few months later. We've all started to evolve, as you say, and there's more in it. Like, there's chicken products, there's pakoras, there's kebabs, things that Chippy's dabbled with before, but we've pushed the limits with. And I think you're right. You won't survive with a traditional menu anymore. You can't. It's became too saturated with these other businesses. Nothing against other businesses, because we're all for other businesses, small businesses, but it is. I think you need to kind of be that bit more forward thinking. Innovate, don't imitate. That's my kind of saying as
So
well.
back to your point about, what's the differences? The water's a big thing, because, I've got family down in Cambridge, down in Suffolk and down in, down a part of the world. And the water is really bad. It's really full of limescale and loads of different things. And that affects the batter. And also the fish as well. They don't tend to use haddock.
Yeah.
The further south you go and stuff like that, haddock's not a fish that they use. They use
cod's
loads of
a
different
big
white
one,
fish, cod, but there are loads of other types as well. And we've been brought up in haddock, and it's quite a unique, it's quite a unique taste.
And the other thing is what I found really weird when I went to Ireland. I went to a place called Fish City, by the way. Unbelievable. This was, have you heard it?
No.
Oh my word, like 5 floors, right? I'm thinking of Chippy, right? And I go in, it's a restaurant, 100 covers out the front, phenomenal. Took us around, the guy was really great guy, John, took us out. Anyway, he was talking, they have cod and coley. They went to coley as one of their options. And haddock, and I didn't think they would use haddock over there, but it was funny that cod's a big seller. Whereas over here, obviously haddock, you can tell the difference between haddock and whiting as well.
Yeah.
Some people use whiting, but it's I feel, I don't know if you're the same, but with it up here as well as with the chippy, we use fresh fish. The majority of chippies, good chippies will use a fresh fish, right? Not saying anything against the frozen fish. Frozen fish is very good. It's just the good chippies or the traditional chippies tend to use it because that's always been the way it is. Down south, a lot of them use frozen. And I think you can tell the difference in the taste of frozen fish.
So, the Scottish Fish and Chip Awards, obviously at this time of year, it's a massive event. Enrico touched on it, used to be the Italian Awards. It's an event that is completely free to enter.
Yeah.
What's the strategy behind that?
Well, the strategy is that we want to reach out to as many fish and chip shops across Scotland as possible, and we don't want price to be a burden. We do. If you get to the final, we expect somebody to come and represent you, and that can be through a friend of a friend. For example, you may be related to someone else.
Yep.
At least there's somebody in the building that could potentially collect a certificate or a trophy in the night. But to actually enter it, it is free. We've looked again at the business models that are out there, and there's a few others that charge you, 200, 300, 400, 500 quid to enter, and you're guaranteed a place in the final. But as I say, it's always been for us about the public. The public have to engage, the public have to vote for you. What that does is it ensures that no one's ever going to get to the final that shouldn't be in the final or doesn't want to be in the final.
Yep.
But equally, if you're not very good, then they'll no vote for you. And so hopefully when we get to the shortlist, we've got the quality is reasonably good before the judges then go and try and find the best guys at that particular time in that particular visit.
I think you're right. You have to have someone there. You do have to have somebody there to represent because it's a shambles if somebody isn't there to.
I think it's a
collect it.
disrespect.
Yeah,
if I look at, for example, the Italian awards that we do, we've got dignitaries flying in from Italy. We've got sponsors flying in from all over Italy, all over the UK. Yeah. And when you think about the cost attached to that, not only sponsoring an event, but travelling and flying and staying in hotels.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And then you're in the corner in, Cambuslang or, Glasgow, and you can't be bothered turning up or sending somebody.
No, I know.
I do.
It's got a disrespect of the whole
of the
whole thing. So
you're touching on like getting to the final and the judges and stuff. So, but what's the kind of criteria that your judges are looking for? Do you sit with the judges before and say this is exactly what we want for?
So it's evolved quite a lot over the last 15 years, and I said every day's a school day, and we learn now. And technology's been a brilliant thing for us because when we first started, you had to send an email, and emails were all getting checked. Now it's all done through QR codes. You can scan, you can vote through QR codes. It's done through a Google form where people fill it in. Coming on to the judges, it depends on the category. Every category is different. So if I take a couple of ideas, so if we look at Best Fish and Chip Shop, so Best Fish and Chip Shop is judged on everything.
Okay.
So your fish and chips might be no bad, but your shop might be out of this world. Yeah. You might have invested heavily in your staff, your uniforms, your website, your branding, your shop's immaculate, but your food's okay. You could win that because that's an overarching award for people that are investing into the business, investing into that. Because we've been into some fish and chip shops and the fish and chips are brilliant, but the place has fallen down.
Yeah.
That would be the Best Fish Supper Award. So the Best Fish Supper Award, we're coming in to judge specifically the fish supper.
Right, okay.
So we're not interested. And so the judge, the way that the scores, normally out of 100, the way the score's balanced, it's balanced on the fish and chips, the batter. Is the fish fresh? Where's it sourced from? Are the potatoes locally? How are they done? Are they frozen potatoes? Are they fresh potatoes? A lot more very much in the technical and science of the fish supper.
Yeah.
But the fish and chip shop is relating to the whole, encompassing everything else. Other awards like Best Social Media, then it's a deep dive into the social media and what's that doing to to the shop? Is it generating income for the shop? Is it generating awareness of fish and chips across the whole of Scotland? So each individual category is kind of different. It's not a one size fits all.
Of course.
And some of them also we have interactive categories. So we've introduced a new category this year, Does It Fry? And we're working with an influencer called Daza. And that's an innovation category. And we're going to have a bit of fun with that and obviously generate loads of PR off the back of it. But more importantly, just to educate people that it's not just about fish and chips.
Of course.
And we can, the deep fried Mars bar, I was dealing with the Blue Lagoon. So they're celebrating 50 years this year. And they sell 200 deep fried Mars bars a week still from the flagship shop in Gordon Street. And that's tourists coming in and going,
Of course.
I want to try a deep fried Mars bar. Now, okay, we can talk about authenticity, we can talk about, we want to talk about fish and chips, but ultimately it's about commercials.
Yeah.
And that's people coming into that shop and spending £10 or £15 or whatever and going away with a product, which is helping that business survive.
Do you know, it's funny because the Dazas Does It Fry, I didn't realise you had to enter, I didn't understand. So see, you enter it and you go in and do it because we are, our stuff's mental. The stuff we try is mental. And it's something that actually suits exactly what we do when we were looking at it. I'm going, I didn't realise you pick it, you automatically go in. I thought you had to.
It's a brand new thing that we decided to do. And as I said, every year people like yourselves and people, you would be amazed how many people come to us with ideas.
Of course.
What about this? You've missed this. And as I said, every day for us is a school day, and it's about everything's constructive. We don't take anything personally. We never have. We look and go, take it in the chin and go, we can do that better. Let's look at it. We've missed an opportunity there. Let's get involved in that. But yeah, that's a concept that we looked at and we thought we can have a bit of fun with it. It allows us to video it. It allows us again to use Daza's influence and Daza's followers to then elevate people thinking about fish and chips. Definitely. And as I said, that's what it's about. For us, the objective is...
It is ultimately getting people in the door, isn't it? It really is. It doesn't matter, not that it doesn't matter, but somebody might come up with an absolutely ridiculous idea. It gets on social media and people will go visit the shop. And once they visit the shop, they'll start trying different stuff on the menu.
I think it's just I'm gutted that I actually never... Because I didn't understand it. I thought that would have been good for us. But what I was going to say with it is, when you're at it, you're 100% right. You need to get people seen and showcasing, because that's one thing about the Fish and Chip Awards, the Italian Awards. No one there, apart from the pizzas, no one sees what's going on.
That's right.
You do the pizza cook-off because we've been involved in it and all that, but that would be good because you're getting different.
I think there's more of that needs to happen. I think that as I said, we're doing the fry-off competition, so
that'll be good as well.
We have the mobile fish and chip shop and it's set up and stuff like that, and with loads of people wanting to enter that, and it's great fun because it's interactive and you're getting to put your fish in front of a number of judges. Yeah. Glasgow Live are involved, there's a few other media partners involved, and it's just great PR and it's great fun to be involved in, and you've got a chance to win, but you're seeing what else people are producing as well, so you can look and go, that's pretty good, that's not very good.
100%.
But the reason we did that as well is that, again, we're looking at what else is happening around the UK, and other ones are not doing that, and you mentioned trying the food, we still believe you should be trying it. We'll send us a video, we'll watch it in video and that looks good. You hit the nail on the head at the beginning. You said, you need to try it, you need to eat it. Yeah. Taste the difference, because there is a significant difference between one chip shop and the other.
100%.
And it's dripping or it's oil or they're using frozen at sea. And come back to your point about fresh fish, and this is a kind of, can be controversial, because I live in a generation where people say frozen and they think about farm foods in Iceland, and there's other brands that are available, right? But they think about cheap. We work with, and we've spoken to a number of these frozen at sea companies, and they're millions and millions of pounds in turnover. They're sending fish all across the world, and when they're caught at sea, they're frozen instantly on the ship. And these ships are like 20-30 million pound ships. They're not tugboats. They're proper. It's like a city. Yeah. And the quality is very, very good. My concern is that, and I take your point, I think fresh. What is fresh? And it's how quickly do you get it, and who is your fish? Because we deal with some parts in Scotland and some parts in the UK where it's maybe landing in Peterhead, and then it's sitting in Peterhead for 2 days, and then we get one delivery a week, and you think, well, so then, and it's like everything else, when something passes away, it starts to decompose. So it's how is fresh, and it depends. I mean, obviously, you guys are getting it, you're getting it quick, and you're doing high volume, and people are getting it as fresh as it can be. But I think it's just a wider conversation, and I think that in England, there's a lot of that frozen at sea, and the quality does vary dramatically.
That's the thing with the frozen at sea, that I think the quality of it, but I think you won't know until it's defrosted if it's poor quality.
And it's a technique to defrost it as well, because obviously, again, and it's how do you learn how to do that? And as I said, we're quite technical nerds, you know, and we look at how it all works in the process. And if it's done properly, it's pretty up there. But again, people are learning how to use a product. How do we deal with it? You know, how do you defrost? It needs to be completely defrosted.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to sit there like eventually like a fresh fish would sit.
Yeah, of course.
Because the thing is at Christmas time you have to use, like there's a week between Christmas and New Year. Every chippy in the country has to use frozen fish, no matter what they say. And if they're telling you they're not, they've got fresh fish in there. That's fresh fish in there for a week or two, right? But with that, I understand it. Like, I get it. We're all, my family been there since 1968. We've got family that's been in Dunoon all over the country who won't touch frozen fish. It's just a generational thing, and I get it. I get the quality side of it. But as I say, like, if it's defrosted, you will not know if that, because it's happened to us before. We've had a case of fish being set in at Christmas time. It's been frozen, well, not Christmas time, in between Christmas and New Year, and it defrosts, and you're like, that's not fresh. It's not. It's off. So we've had to send it back to the supplier. But you won't know, so that's a stone of fish you've wasted, and the time, and all that kind of side of it. That's it. But I do get there is some good frozen fish. Like we've got a great relationship with Colbeck, and they keep asking me about using frozen fish, and I'm like, nope, not doing it. But they show you, and they've taken us to show different cook-offs, and the stuff is very good. So I'm not slating it, and I'm not slating anyone, because
no.
The whole point of this isn't to slate other shops. It's not to slate 100%. Other businesses. It's to push this brand, push the industry in general.
Yep.
But with it, it's interesting when you say about that, about getting frozen there at sea. It is really interesting, because people won't see that, and that's another great point. They won't understand.
As an
that.
episode for the podcast, that I'm going to speak to these guys and see if I can get myself a day on one of these ships.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few of them would be up to taking you on them. I mean, we were invited on one last year, and I think it was 150 million or something. This thing was like a hotel at the gym in it, swimming pool, and the fishermen go out to sea for like 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, because there's no rush to come back in, because it's frozen at sea.
You're not going
it goes from 0 to -19 in 2 minutes in a blast freezer, and it's just a big, it's like a cruise ship. That's how I describe it. It's unbelievable. But as I said, it's an educational thing, and it's we're not going to convince generations and generations, but for high volume places, it's a way to go. For some of these guys, but. Fresh is you've got to be looking at fresh if you can get it and you can source it, because that's what we're about. It's about sustainability, and it's also about supporting the Scottish fishing industry as well. So we've got an obligation to that, being in Scotland. So that's where we're go to, and we're number one.
Because I know that one of the suppliers that we've been to, one of these these exhibitions, and one of the suppliers is the Icelandic.
Yeah,
because when the guy behind the desk could hardly even speak, because I was asking questions and he could hardly understand a word I was saying. So as you say, the whole point of it is to try and Scotland keep our economy going, especially just now when everybody's talking about like independence and stuff like that. It's about sustainability and keeping it as local as you possibly can. I know Peterhead isn't local.
No. I've got a belter story for that. See, years ago, 20 years ago, my dad. There was the fish prices went at that time. I think it was £24 a stone, £25 a stone. It went to like £50, right? Went mental. And my uncle sourced this wee fishman from France. He was a Frenchman, right? And he was getting fish at £23, £24. And he was coming in to buy me fresh, was jumping out of the water, right? It was jumping out of the box, right? It was unbelievable. My mum and dad were like, right, we'll use it. It's all our family. As I say, there's a massive crowd of us all buying this. And then the Frenchman came in, they've hijacked me. Then what do you mean they've hijacked you? Basically, the dog got tailed and basically don't off like that. Beat it, right? Beat it, because
they were selling the price at double the price, and he was undercutting them all.
And it was from Iceland. It was not Iceland. It was Icelandic. So that was. My mum, my granddad used to have fish merchants. Well, he was a fish. Had a fishmonger. So my mum always back to it's fresh. It's all got to be. And as you see, because we have to support them, but. In this, where we are, we can get it.
But it's about like you say, it's like building relationships and having good relationships with suppliers. If our fish comes in and we don't feel it's fresh enough, and we don't feel it's the right size, we don't feel it's the right quality, we can go back and say to them, listen, that's no good enough. Yeah. And then he'll say, right, okay, leave it with me. And he'll maybe go back to his supplier. It's about having that, contact and you can relate back to. So the fishermen.
Yeah, it's also about a respect between your supplier and you. You're the end user, but at the end of the day, you're doing volume with these guys. Yeah. And they have to respect that you know what you're talking about, and that you need a level of quality, because your brand is important.
It's just you like the idea of being able to like the fresh fish will come in from us, and on the side of the box you'll be able to know when it was caught, where it was caught, who caught it. So our fish supplier, our merchant, can go back to them. If you this frozen at sea stuff that isn't that you know, and you say it's got a process of defrosting and stuff, by the time it defrosts, if you don't think it's up to quality, then there's a big process of that going all the way back to you need to go to your supplier, they need to go to their supplier, then they need to go back to you know, it's a long chain. Whereas for us, we can pick up the phone to our fish merchant and say that's not good enough, and
There's
he
a
can
place
pick up
in
the phone.
Inverness I was at a few months ago, and they've got up on a blackboard the boat that it was caught on,
Yeah,
and when it was caught,
That's
brilliant.
amazing.
I know.
and it's cood at the door, and it's.
I think that is a big selling point, especially for
and,
people that
you
come
know,
over.
And people come in and they've actually got it and they go like, oh, it's no the Blue Orchard or whatever, right? It sounds like a nightclub. But the Blue Orchard, you know, boat, and it's Captain, you know, Seagull or whatever, you know, and people are going like, oh, it's no him, when is he coming in?
Aye.
And it's crazy.
Crazy.
And then they just get into their head that this particular boat is where they
That's
want
where
to
the
be.
best fish come from, aye.
But you know,
But it's really authentic, you know, and it really shows.
Again, so I'm touching on it though. If people are coming over as tourists to these parts and whatever, and they might not get fresh fish straight for the sea, you know, that's a big selling point. You're like, oh, we had a fish supper, we were in Scotland, and we could tell you exactly.
they
where
love
it came
that,
from.
especially in Inverness. We love it.
No, they're going to go back raving about it.
Yeah,
Even you're
100%,
talking about like the fishmonger, so like our fish supplier. The other day, some of the fish were a bit smaller. Well, it's a bit small. He's like, I'll hand cut it. So he actually hand cut it and pick it, like get the size we need. That's one thing that I get with frozen at sea. They have. Saying that they have ranges. It's like 5 to 8 ounces, whatever. It's like
right.
so one bit could be smaller than the other, whereas you know our fish comes in, it's the same size generally all the time. It's not what we deal with, but that's one thing. But you know, we're kind of digressing.
Yeah,
there.
I was just going to say let's get back to talking now.
Yeah, about the awards. So the awards, like, have you got any moments where you think to yourself, "That's alright, that's hilarious"? Like, things that went wrong at the cook-offs, because I've got one in my head. I've got a couple in my head, but
cook-off moments. Yeah, I mean, well, not necessarily relating to fish and chips, but I can talk about the Italian Awards. The time we did a pizza, and a gentleman came, and he had truffle on it, and he had gold leaf and everything on it, and it was an unbelievable pizza. And the judges tried it and thought it was out of this world, and they brought the boy back in, and he says, "Can I ask how much would it cost to recreate this pizza?" He said 180 quid, and he says, "So it's not on your menu?" "No, I just thought you would like it, so I made it for you, thinking I could win." He says, "Well, look, if we could give you the title of the best pizza, people are going to be coming from all over the country to try it,
this,
and they'll not be able to get it. And if they're getting it, it's going to cost them 180 quid. He went, "That's madness." and it was, I thought it was hilarious at the time, because I'm looking at this pizza and it's like this gold, you know, this gold pizza with truffle and all sorts of crazy stuff on it. And
he should have committed to that guy. He should have put it on his menu. He should have charged 180 quid for that. If that's the best pizza going, people would pay that. Maybe for a couple of weeks at
But
least.
do you remember when people going down south to that place for the Prime? And he was like,
"Oh, that Wakey Wines guy." I'm telling you, that was a
they were making fortunes. I know it was. I mean, it was doing the very first cook-off, right? Callum and I go, and obviously these are all props. Our pizza, I was like tossing the pizza and all this, and him and I'm like,
it was very daunting.
Daunting's the one. He's like, "You're doing it." See, he's always up for everything. He's like, "You're doing it." So I get up. I'm like, "You're joking." You get the rolling pin, right? The pizza tray, right? And you know Tony, what's his name?
Masera.
Tony Masera's like, "Hey, Rico, what are you doing, man? I can't believe it, right?" Tony's amazing pizza
He's
chef.
a world champion. He's a 5-time world pizza champion.
What a
Pals
pizza, mate.
pals my dad, pals my uncle, Mazio and all this, right? And he's like, "Oh, fuck, I don't believe it, man." I'm like,
he would
tell
have
me
been
about it. I don't believe it. He was meant to be looking like a fanny, not me, right? So
That's exactly that. He was alright for me to look like a dick. Right?
So after that, we learn, you know, we're like, right, because that's just the way we work. Because as you say, it's what you sell in your shop, right? So, because I spoke to Michael at the time, he's like, "Do what you sell in your shop. Don't change it." So that's what we've done.
Yeah.
Then we try to adapt it. And we started it. So we came to another one.
Yeah.
And Fraser that works with PJ Fraz. He good pizza, makes a great pizza, but he's designed his own dough, made everything right. Turns up at the awards. And now the Italian awards, as you know, we that's our day out. So we take it, we go for it, right? So in the morning, go and get we go and get a haircut, we go get a shave and all this, right? So take a day out, but Fraser's like, right, I'll do the pizza, and him and Callum are doing it. You get the pizza judge over for Italy, and Fraser's banged this pizza in the oven, right? And there's smoke everywhere, right? You'd have thought the Pope's getting announced, right? It was like everywhere, and he's just mortified, and the judge is like,
Yeah, as Italian guys.
That's right. That's right. He was from the University of Pizza in
that's
Italy.
the one,
We've got a video of this.
So offended.
Every year we post it, and Fraser's like, I'm still gutted about that. Like we talk about.
See, actually, there's a
constantly.
point in the video you can see. So Fraser fries a pizza in the oven, right? He must have about a kilo of flour on it, right? And the guy's watching him put it in the oven, and then the smoke starts, and you can see in the video the judge, he turns around to the rest of them, and he's just looking at them as if, what the fuck is that?
I know, but there's a bit as well where he. Like the judge, that doesn't end there. The judge at the end wants to give you some feedback.
Yeah.
But Fraser's that embarrassed. He
Bolted.
bolts.
Oh, did he?
He leaves. So I'm left getting spoken to the judge going, it's not me. Like, it wasn't me that made it. He's disappeared
the
as well.
building.
I'm left.
Fraser and I both disappeared.
And I'm sitting
We went
going
to the
like
car
that.
to get our clothes because we had a haircut booked as well, and I was like, I'm getting out of here.
I think
Sorry,
went for
I'm
the
away.
haircut because they jumped down and I'm like that. I can't believe it. I'm getting the guy's like, you can't do it. But he must have looking going, that guy was really tall and skinny and you're really small and
Yeah,
fat.
you're
Right?
small
You're,
and
like,
fat. You're not the same
you're not
guy.
the same guy, right?
I think the Italian Awards pizza competition is quite a bit different. So we've introduced pizza into the Fish and Chip Awards this last couple of years. Been really popular, and it's something we're looking to grow. And we've brought a cook-off competition in this year for that. So similar concept, but a lot less forgiving because we're not expecting.
Chippy pizzas are completely different.
Yeah,
than
And you know,
authentic Italian
get into
pizza,
the science and the technical stuff. You know, is fine when you're talking about the Homa pizza in Italy. You know, and you're talking about the Italian Awards saying this is the best pizza in Scotland. It needs to be pretty good. You know, because people are going to travel everywhere to try it, and if it's shit, then it doesn't look good for anybody. But I think with the Chippy pizzas, I think that a lot of them are doing fantastic pizzas.
Yeah.
Really, really good quality. You know, and various different types, not just necessarily Italian. You know, loads of different styles.
I think you need to understand that, like, a Chippy might not have the same resources as a pizzeria. You know, they don't have the same time to make a dough and let it rest for 48 hours. You know, they don't have the same capacity to work like that. So again, it's about adapting and working.
And for us, it's about
your
looking
business,
at that sustainability, that business model, and going, how do we protect the fish and chip, you know, shops? And is it ice cream? Is it desserts? Is it pizza? Is it kebabs? Whatever it is. And I know that people maybe say, oh, the Fish and Chip Awards shouldn't be looking at that. We're looking about making sure the industry stays robust for years to come, because it's in our best interest, because we're the PR and marketing company that wants to survive in this industry. But equally, the suppliers who are supporting the event and supporting you guys and the fish and chip shops with the media attachment, getting extra customers coming to see what all the fuss is about.
This is, and you'll understand it because obviously, as you say, you do PR and kind of that kind of stuff and consultancy, but this is the massive thing for us with this podcast, is about the sustainability of takeaways, fish and chip industry, you know, and the suppliers, and going all the way back to show kind of how hard work it is, what goes into it. You know, it's not just a case of turning up at 4 o'clock and disappearing at 10 o'clock at night, and what really goes into it, and that's what we are really trying to push and focus on. So it's nice to hear that you guys are obviously at the back, even though the be all and end all, I guess, for people outside looking in, is that that's the best fish and chips, right? And that's it. But you guys are obviously looking at the back of that and what makes that the best fish and chips.
Yeah. Well, I think people who don't know us are people who think they know Paramount Creative, and they look at us and they think, these guys are making money.
Yeah.
Of course we're making money.
Yeah,
If you go into a chip
That's how you
shop
live,
and you
eh?
buy a chip, if you go into a pizzeria and you pay £15 for a pizza, it doesn't cost £15 to buy the pizza,
Yeah, of course.
because there's costs. There's, as you say, you don't work for 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. We've got a full time staff of 9 people. They work every day, Monday to Friday, all year round. We're not working in the Fish and Chip Awards all
You don't
year
just
round.
turn up in November and give dish out an award.
But what we are is, when we get involved in a sector, we're completely committed to that sector, and we will do everything that we possibly can. You know, podcasts, working with the media, raising money for the Scottish Fish and Chip Museum in Anstruther, because that's an important place where people can go and get educated as to the amount of people that died trying to fish for fish all over the years and how it's innovated. And again, it's about education, culture, and just, as you mentioned, the school kids earlier on, it's that's the future for us. It's engaging with the kids, the teenagers, going, look, this is what your mummy and daddy and your granny and granddad ate, so there's nothing wrong with it, and you should be eating it as well, and it's an option as a takeaway or as a meal at night.
So you're we're obviously talking about sustainability and talking about that, and is there any place or a time when you can think of that a chippy or a takeaway has won an award with you guys and it's just took them to the next level? Obviously everybody's trying to get out there, and then this being in this final for this gets you out there to an extent, but is there a place that's won it? And
I think there's a number of places. I think what's happened with when we set up Paramount Creative 15 years ago, we set up without the use of Facebook, without the use of Instagram, websites and that were pretty basic with regards to being able to monetize it or generate any sort of traffic. And I think by default, nothing that we've done, but social media has made us even more important and even more powerful than what we could ever have imagined, because now you can monetize it. And now when Glasgow Live, or we say to someone, that's the best chip shop in Scotland, or that's the best pizza in Scotland, people believe it. You know, and they, because you become a trusted brand, because we're associated with Barzine Brew and you know Kerry Foods, and a lot of the big industry have chosen to back this event. There's a lot of trust there, and people trust what we say, and as a result, it generates money now. So to win an award now, if you know how to maximise on it, whether it's on through your own social media channels or you're able to speak to your local newspaper or whatever, you can make money. I think one of the ones that jumps out at me when you said that was Quintilani's and Larkhall. So they won Best Pizza last year, and George and Cassie and Clyde Wynn had read an article in Glasgow Live about them winning the Scottish Fish and Chip Awards for Best Pizza, and had a conversation about it. And with a combination of a number of things in the media, the owner had phoned me and said that that's as busy as they've been in 30 years.
Good.
Really? Yeah.
Now, that's a big statement, because 30 years ago, fish and chip shops were, and you'll remember your family and that as well in the days. So if we can have that sort of impact, and we can try and
Definitely.
just continually drive that narrative. And I speak to people all the time, and they'll say to me, do you know, I was watching this video, or I watched that video you posted going down the Clyde in the boat, or I watched that video and I just went and had a chippy.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And I think that's what this podcast's about. It's about just kind of from the back end, if you like, just subliminally keeping fish and chips topical, so that if it comes a
100%.
Thursday and the football's on, you go, do you know what, we'll get a chippy tonight.
Yeah.
And you might not get a chippy, you might get a Chinese, you might get an Indian. And it's about changing that narrative and keeping fish and chips front and centre. And we are completely and 100% committed to that. And that's not just because there's a commercial benefit to us, because what I always talk about is the happy circle. And the happy circle is, we're the PR and the event company that run it. We're a commercial business. We're not an event. We're not a government body. We're not a charity.
Yeah.
So we need to make money.
Yep.
The sponsors who are involved with us and the partners, like your Gold Star, Pickles and all the rest of it, they need to get awareness, and they need to get connections with the fish and chip owners and keep current.
Yeah.
That works for them. And then all the finalists and all the winners and all the highly recommended, every businesses that they go on to be successful with us, they win it because they now can commercialise it through all the different media channels and their own social media channels. So they make money from it as well. So everybody wins.
Yeah.
So it's all about everybody working together. And it's, your chip shop across the road, not your chip shop, I'm just saying the chip shop across the road might be doing frozen chips, and you're aware of that because you're in the industry. But for me and for our organisation, it's about just driving that narrative of, fresh fish and chips, and go and support your local chippy.
It's funny because, see, like with you're saying about back to 30 years ago, it's so true. When I first went into the chip shop, left university and everything, I went in, the guy had said to us, my uncle, my cousin had passed away, my dad was helping kind of manage, like, up to see my uncle was all right. So I went into the shop and I thought, I'm going to work in here, and this is what I did. Couldn't get a job after uni. So anyway, at that time though, you were sending menus out round the houses. It was always posting menus around the doors. It was putting your article in the newspaper, whatever. When's the last time you do that? Like, it's all social media now. It's
social
all
media.
You put it, like, we all come up with ideas. We're very forward thinking. I think we are a float boat, but we're always thinking the next thing. We catch on to trains quite quickly and we push it out. But that post will be done within a couple of days, easily, and we'll get it out there. If you're waiting for a newspaper article, you were waiting for a week for it to come out as well. Like, that's the difference in social media. It's a massive power. It also works the opposite way. You get people trolling you and giving you pelters, but people don't see that actually helps you. Because you're saying about Glasgow Live, you'll put on there, people will trust it. I don't know how many times I'll see an article in Glasgow Live and somebody will go, these awards are out all the time. There's 10 by the best chip shops. Just because people they want to sit in the house and moan about something, but it's also good for brand. All
no
news
publicity.
is
What is it? No publicity is bad
There's no
publicity.
such thing as bad PR.
Yeah, exactly.
And 100%. And we get a lot of negative PR. We get a lot of negative. It's easy to be negative.
Yeah.
It's hard to be positive.
Oh, definitely.
And there's people that will go on and go, I don't like that chippy.
So
Who cares?
yeah. Why do you need to tell everybody that?
No, we never engage. We've thought about it for a long time, and there's a few things that have went on over the years, and people have said things on social media, and we've went, that's complete and utter lies. But when you start to engage with that, you go down a dark hole. You go down a hole of, and then how does that make you look? And we always try and take the narrative of, well, we're the organisation at the top, so we're not going to engage with you because you're just a wee guy in the house.
Yeah.
And what you think, it doesn't matter. And it might matter to your 50 pals that are following you, that are going, come on, big man, you're great. But it doesn't matter in the scheme of things, in the big picture. But it can be hurtful. It used to be hurtful in the early days. I mean, way back when 15 years ago, because you're trying your hardest. You've
course.
invested a lot of money. The money's not coming back at that time, so you're going, you know, and then you're getting kind of people shouting and, you know, things, and you think you don't know what we're going through here. You don't know what our overall objective is.
Yeah.
But you're right. Social media, I call it the burning fire, and it can ignite your business, and it can destroy your business.
Yeah.
And it's respecting that platform and respecting, but understanding that you're going to have the no-sayers, the keyboard warriors that are sitting.
You're
They
always
would never
gonna
say
get
it to your face.
No.
You know, I've
That's
met
it.
loads of people that, you know, you talk to them face to face and they're the nicest guy in the world, and then they're writing a comment on social media and you're phoning them up and going,
What is that all about?
I could you know just have spoke to me about it, and I'd have give you the answer that you needed. You might not have agreed with me, but I'd have give you an
I
explanation.
think that's the thing. Like, you're not always going to agree. Like, you have to have that conversation. It's there's things you will learn from it. Like, there's in both sides. Like I could say something that I might not agree with you, and you would go, right, well, we have a conversation, and that's it. You don't need to fall out.
And it's okay not to, you know, everything I've done in my whole life, I do it to win. I was never brilliant at anything, but you wanted me in your team because I'm competitive. I'm going to fight you to the death, right?
Aye.
But I might not been very good. You know, but
Yeah,
if you're picking your team at
try my best.
football or whatever, or basketball, you'd go him in my team because I don't want to be against him. Do you know, not because he's going to score loads of goals, just because he's a pain, he's a pest.
Yeah.
You know, but
It's just the way of the world. I think it's just social media, as you say, it's a great thing in the right way, but it's so easy for people to go on and berate a business or berate a company, berate someone. It's really easy.
But I also can't help answer back. I take it dead personally.
I think that's we've got a couple of media companies who assist us and get us in the newspapers and do a lot of the PR and stuff for us, and we always go back to them straight away because they're not emotionally involved in the business.
Yeah.
So we've had situations where, you know, maybe an award winner's been charged with some offence or whatever, and obviously we've given them an award. So we're in the firing line because we've said this is the best restaurant, and all of a sudden the guy's in the paper for something else, and we're like, do we engage with this because we're getting negative PR? And you should have known this. I mean, I'm meant to know that.
Right, exactly.
You know, at the end of the day,
you know it's face value.
we're in there trying to fish and chip. We don't know what the guy's doing, and he's
Behind the scenes.
100%. Not
but
So you obviously we go back a wee bit there, and you say you've got a full team of guys that work Monday to Friday 9 to 5. What goes into
and then plus and then some.
Yeah, of course, But what goes into organising and running Scotland's biggest award?
you know, I describe it as a wedding. If you've ever organised a wedding, your own wedding,
I'm not daft enough.
right? Okay.
Poor Catherine. She'll be thinking the same. She'll be like, I'm not daft enough.
If you organised a wedding for 600 people or 700 people, that's what it's like, and we do that every kind of 4 weeks. So it's like a roller coaster of emotions. So you've got the real high adrenaline and the real low emotion after it, because after it it's like, right,
I start again.
and then within 2 or 3 days you're on to the next one, whatever it may be, in whatever sectors it's in. But you wouldn't believe how much is involved in it, because how many people phone into the office to ask questions, like you were asking questions about the cook-off and whatever. We get literally hundreds of people emailing and messaging and phoning and going, oh, can I wear this? And what's black tie? And like, we should actually probably have a question and answer thing on the website, just to try and cut that out.
Cut
You know,
that out,
save a bit of time.
where is it? Is it the old Hilton? Is it the new Hilton? Is it, you know, what date is that again? And just loads of just, you know, and you need to be able to service that.
course.
And then you have to service social media. And again, so I think we reached, I think last week there was 400,000 in Scotland for fish and chips. So there's a lot of activity. And then you've got the public voting. So the public can vote through the QR codes and through the voting system that we've got, and that's what we try and direct them to. But we get people phoning in to vote.
Right,
Wee
okay.
grannies phoning in and stuff like that. You know,
That's brilliant.
I don't use a computer.
Old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Can you register my name, or can I register my vote over the phone? And you're like, well, not really, but we will,
But you
because we're not the type of business that's going to, you know, no answer and no speak to people. So I think communication is a lot of time and energy just in communicating. And then obviously we've got all the partners and all the sponsors, and we're very blessed that we've got such support.
Yeah.
But all of them have got their individual, you know. So for example, with Gold Star, you know, Walter Black, you know, so he's on going, right, my brown sauce and my red sauce, and can I give that to the winners, and I want them positioned here, and can I have them on my tables, and can I have pickles here? But you've equally got Pro Fry, who do the fish and chip shop, so they've got a branded up Scottish fish and chip van coming up. And he's telling exactly where it's to be parked and what's the schedules, and there's loads of different things happening within the event. So all the cook-off competitions, so there's 2 cook-off competitions running on the day of the awards.
Right, okay.
So we're going to be at 2 different locations doing cook-off competitions while the event's getting set up. So obviously that involves a number of different members of staff, and I would love to be everywhere, but you
course.
can't be everywhere.
How do you Enrico has obviously touched on it quite a few times in the podcast, and he loves mentioning it. But so I get really stressed, right? I'm a stress head. But so how do you get stressed on the? Are you?
I think we're constantly,
irate or-
yeah. I think
yeah.
I don't think we're stressed on the day because that's the fun bit.
Yeah.
Because that's where I think we're stressed in the run up to it because it's so much things need to, so many different plates, if you like, are spinning. But I think on the day it's an excitement. I call it nervous anticipation or shitting yourself.
Yeah.
If you Google it, but nervous anticipation is probably how I would describe it, and it's exciting. But we also understand, you guys, we also understand that. See, if I'm in something, I'm in it to win it.
Yeah.
I'm not in it to take part. I'm not in it just to be in it. Right? And the vast majority of people that go into these competitions are in it because they're hugely passionate, hugely driven, hugely successful in their own industry that they're in, and they want to win. And equally, when they don't win, they're upset. And that's absolutely fine. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because I'd be exactly the same.
Yeah, of course.
So my mindset is exactly the same as the people that we're servicing. So we don't ever fall out with people. We don't ever disengage with people. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do and what we try to do every year is to try and improve the process. Make the process as fair as we possibly can, as transparent as we possibly can, because ultimately we want the best person at that particular night who performs on the night or at that particular cook-off. Because the thing about these cook-offs as well is it's a real equaliser. Yeah. Because if you do come on and panic, you could be the best fish fryer. Last year the wee girl won. She was from Peters in Dumfries. And when you're looking at the list of the names, there's a lot of big hitters in there. Yeah. And you're going, and Peters wasn't even mentioned. Wasn't even in the it was like wee lassie, right? And all these big hitters are there, they're all branded up with their shirts on and all that. And I'm going to give it a tanking. And this wee lassie comes in and she's just doing her thing and puts it down and blows the judges away. Aye. And they're like, what have you done with the batter? Oh, I add lemon to it. She adds like 3 or 4 different types of ingredients to it. They're going, that's incredible what you've created there. And she wins. And all these big guys, my reputation.
That's the kind of thing
reputation
you want to
doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want these wee small people.
See, from an event point of view,
underdogs.
we're looking for guys that are under the radar or people that are doing things over and above the call of duty that's maybe not been recognised. And how do we find them and how do we get them? And that's what the whole process is about. And that for Dumfries was incredible because the amount of PR that was generated down in the borders. Yeah. And people have this conversation, they think it's Glasgow and Edinburgh. Nobody else matters. But for us, we need to look at the whole of Scotland, and that's why I've been up in Johnny Groats this year. I've been up in Shetland Islands. I've been in Stornoway. I've been all over, and that's because I want to go and see these places face to face as well, and look at them and go, is there anybody up here that's doing stuff? And I think the Central Scotland's got a lot to learn with regards to what can be produced. The further north you go, because the further north you go, there's less Chinese, there's less Indian. Yeah. There's less Greeks. It really is fish and chips. You go into some of these villages and there's a fish and chip shop and that's it. There's no other choice. You have to go there. And some of these guys are producing some, and that's why we regionalised it as well, because we want to give these guys, it's a Scottish awards, it's not the Glasgow awards.
I was going to ask that, why you regionalise it, because the result then it becomes a lot of words, but it does make sense because also you can go up to a Chippy in Aberdeen that don't like, they have a different type of batter or the style of batter or the dripping, or some place in Glasgow that they will use oil because of their demographic, right? Yeah. Whereas up north they might not have that, and they might still stick to just beef dripping, and it does make sense. There's a lot.
You mentioned a number of awards. I think that's a valid point. I think that a couple of reasons why there's a lot of awards at the moment, and that's because we're trying to reach as many people as we possibly can, because it's still quite a new event. This is only the 3rd year of this event, and when I speak to some sponsors and speak to people and they go online and they look at the media coverage and what's been in the newspaper, they go, how many years has this been running? And you go, it's 3 years.
Only 3.
What you talk? Because we've been doing all our events for many, many years, we know the formula. So very, very quickly we can get it to the market and we can really grow it really, really quickly. But I think the future would be to reduce the number of awards.
I was going to ask that,
I think that we see there's a number of awards that we've already allocated that we're probably going to remove next year.
Well, but
the idea for us is to try and engage with as many fish and chip shops as possible, alert them to the fact to what this competition's all about. And then next year when they go back and they go, well, there isn't, I'm not going to mention any ones that were taken out, but there isn't that. But I've still got my regional award I can go for. I can still go for my national award. Yeah. And then, because at the end of the day, this year, I think it's whatever there is, 23 awards or whatever. But it'll be less than that. Yeah. But as I said, for us, it's about making sure we can communicate with as many. And I think we're interacting with about 1,000 fish and chip shops at the moment.
Wow, crazy.
And we think there's more than that. Some of the wholesalers will say that they reckon there's 1,200, there's 1,800, there's 2,000 because of how many they work with, but they don't work with everybody. Yeah. And what we're trying to do is to try and engage with every single one, because we can help everybody. Yeah. We don't need to be a particular wholesaler, or we don't service above Perth, or we only service to Newcastle. We service the whole of Scotland. So
I think that brings me on to my my last question, I think. What is, you obviously touched on, there's some stuff that's going to be taken out. But what's next for the Scottish Fish and Chip Awards? How are you going to take that to the next level?
There's a couple
now?
of things. There's a couple of things that we're going to announce on the night. I can't announce it just now.
That's fair enough.
You could have gave us our first What's the Bar exclusive.
If I gave you that,
world's first.
if I gave you that, then it would wouldn't be as exciting on the night.
Yeah,
but
of course,
I think that what we've seen is that there's an underestimated representation for Scottish fish and chip shops across the UK and other events, and we think that we can help other parts of the UK. And what we've done in the past with other events is we've engaged with different countries, and I think that's how we see the future. We helping to elevate Scotland even further, so that when people are visiting from all over the world, they're coming to parts of Scotland to try fish and chips rather than maybe other parts. That maybe gives you a wee idea of what we're.
So we look forward to hearing what Warren's world exclusive is going to be on the Monday the 10th of November.
I think it'll be quite an exciting. I think that it'll ruffle a few feathers in different parts of the UK. But as I said, we're all about. We it's never been about, let's not upset this person. It's about the industry.
Yeah.
And there's other organisations and other little events that take place, and it's like a wee club. It's a wee club of people that get together, and it's their wee night out this year, and then they sit around a desk and they go, "It's his turn this year."
Yeah.
So what we're building is a robust process that gives everybody the chance to win. The fighters get a fighting chance. If you're in it, you can win it. If you're not in it, you can't win it. And we want to try and create that. And as I said, with what we've been able to achieve in 3 years, we're not the type of business that's going to sit back and go, we're quite happy. We think there's quite a bit of growth for Scotland, but Scotland's just a part of the bigger picture.
See, the thing is like we've won awards. We won the Dine In Awards. Remember, we used to do the Dine In Awards. It was the first one we went to, actually. Funnily enough, I didn't even realise my cousins were going to be there. My aunt, they were at the table next to us, and it was a great night. And we won at that, and it was great. And the nights out are always good. We've won the Prestige Award, which is different, completely different to you. It's a different award, and it's great. It's great for us. The only thing I'd say about it is you don't get your night out, and the night out's always good because we like a night out. It's always before Christmas. It's great fun.
It's good to
But
showcase
on
the
that,
staff.
the 10th of November. You said there's how many people you're going about 400, 500?
500 at the moment.
That's
I think
unbelievable.
that the last couple of years it's been about 500. I think we're hoping for more than that, of course, but it's a big number.
That's
course,
mental,
100%,
especially in this climate. But
And
also,
you touched on your staff there, and I think that's what it's about as well. It's about, see, it's okay when you're the owner of the business because you're wrapped up in it, but when you're a staff member, you come and you see your name up in lights,
Yeah.
and you get some sort of result, whether that be a highly recommended. And again, that's something we changed over the years. We used to have runners up. And what happened with a runners up award is that nobody writes about a runners up because a runners up is a loser.
yeah.
So what we actually have built is highly recommended. So that's an award. So it's not the overall award, but it's an award.
Yeah.
And what we've found is that by changing that over the last few years, the press write about it because you've been highly recommended, and it can make a lot of money as well, and it can generate money for the business. But from a staff point of view, they're walking about the next weeks after with their chest puffed out going,
And I try and
people are
tell the
stopping
young
them.
ones that. Like,
People are
even
stopping
for
them in the
finalists.
street.
Yeah.
They'll stop in the street and go, I seen you in the paper, or I seen you in the Sun, or I heard somebody talking about you in the radio, or and they go, hang on, I'm working for an award-winning
I know.
Yeah.
chip shop. now.
We have that. We're lucky that we have one.
You've been through the processes, so you understand the value of it, and that's my frustration because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
100%.
And we always say the door's open, but there's people out there that go, it's only about making money. But you sell fish and chips.
I know.
You make money. And it's when you explain it to them, and then they go, "Oh, you're right."
And
it's looking at it from a kind of objective point of view and going, "Well, look, what's in it for us?
Yeah.
And what can we get out of it? And is it free to enter? What have you got to lose?
Exactly.
But some people are frightened to lose, and I think that's maybe with the Italians a wee bit.
I pride in
There's a few Italians.
Oh yeah, I like out with my family Italian.
We've got a couple of big Italian businesses in this year. I'll not mention them on here, but they've never been involved, and they're involved this year. And it's taken them 13, 14 years. And every year we send them stuff, and every year they go, no. And it's been through a fear of losing. Because you go, what if an embarrassment if we don't win? And you go, I know, but imagine you did win.
I know.
Yeah, that's
the commercial benefit.
You've got to
so
try and
it's
think
that
of
kind
way.
of, it's that trying to manage that expectation and manage, because nobody wants to lose, do they?
No, you don't want to lose.
No,
But the thing, you need to take part. But I remember the first year we went, and the next year it was good. It was like the guys love it, the team love it. It's always a good laugh. We have it. yeah, you have to be. Yeah, you're either a winner or you're a loser in general, and as a person, some people take it really, really personally. Callum took it personally. He cried when we never won
I
last
don't think
time.
I actually did
He
properly
was
cry,
no,
but
he was really
I
upset.
was upset. I
Yeah,
don't think I
and
cried.
by
I
the
think
way,
you made that up.
I've got total respect for that
That's
because
exactly
you're,
what I'm saying.
I'm the same. I'm all in and I'm all out. Everything
you're
I do.
raging.
So see when I have these conversations, because people approach us in the night, and I want people to approach us. You know, people say to me, "Oh, you shouldn't do with that. You should go and go where, hide where." I don't. And people come up the night and go, "Thanks," and I go, "What do you thank me for? I didn't pick you." But equally, if they come out and go, "You're an idiot," you know, so I never made the
Got to
decision.
take the good with the bad, don't you?
But when they're coming with constructive feedback, it's the whole event.
Yeah.
And we need to be bigger to go, listen, we have missed that. That's been missed. Let's try, how do we tighten that? And it's about tightening up a process that, but again, not everybody's going to agree, but there shouldn't be too many shocks. I mean, the way I see it is you should see players, you should be able to look at that and go, these guys are top operators. You're in the industry. There shouldn't be too many shocks. I don't mean shocks as because there'll be people that are jewels.
Yeah.
You know, and you go, oh my God, I was at that cook-off and I seen that and that was exceptional. But in the general awards, there should be people that you go, well, they are a top operator.
Don't they deserve it?
You know, it's when you go to events when they don't have a robust process and you go, and they've got 40 seats in the room and they win, and they go, they're rubbish. I know it's frozen. I know it's frozen. I know they're Mickey Mouse and they've won. That's when it leaves a bad taste. And then that's when it starts to, and you've got a right to feel upset with that then because it means that the process has been broken down somewhere and it's not worked properly. And it's a constant problem we have with the Italian awards because the Italians, being the Italians, are very passionate, and they go, I want 30 seats. And I'll go, no, you don't need to take 30 seats. Just take 2 seats because you're not going to. It's not going to improve your chances of winning.
That's it, yeah.
And I think after 13, 14 years now, the Italians understand that.
I don't even know about that because they still think. I mean, I know the Italians. I play golf with them, and I know a lot of them think that way. It's a mindset, but that's in general. Like, see, Italians. I'll quickly say it that. See, with the Italians, basically, they won't support each other either with some suppliers because they're scared in case someone finds out their price. Whereas I work with a lot of these suppliers who are Italian who will never tell you your price, and that's the way it should be. But anyway, we could talk all day. The 10th of November, we're looking forward to it. We'll be there. We'll discuss how many of us are going, but we will be there. But before you go, what's your favourite thing from the Chippy?
Listen, I get asked this all the time and it's never changed. So my go-to is special fish. Normally 2 fish, right? Unless it's a big whale. But it's normally 2 fish, chips, a pickle, 2 gherkins and a can of Vimto. I've had that. That's
why we've never won.
I've had that my whole life, and so much so that my family, when they're ordering for me, don't even need to ask me. They know exactly. And people say, "Well, what's with the pickles and the gherkin?" It's just a thing I had for a young boy, and it makes me feel good. It's a ritual I've got, and I can have sausage suppers and black puddings and everything else. But if you're asking me what is it, then that's what it is. It's a special fish. Pickle, 2 gherkins, and a can of Vimto.
Perfect.
Love it. Well, Warren, I think I speak on behalf of myself and Enrico. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for being so open and honest about it. Guys, 10th of November, Scottish Fish and Chip Awards. You heard it for Warren. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get better. But watch out on the socials for who's going to be the winners. And join us again on the next episode of What's the Batter. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.